Offered by Giffords, Heinrich, and Hunter. Giffords first. Go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Ranking Member McHugh, as well, for introducing this bill and for providing for this markup. Mr. Chairman, we're offering this perfecting amendment because we believe that it strengthens the overall bill and also ensures additional oversight at the early stages of the weapon system development. This bill takes a strong look at many issues driving major acquisition programs over cost and over schedule. And of the 296 major weapons systems that are currently over budget, many we know are vitally important to the future of our military. This bill adequately reconciles the need for continued research and development on cutting-edge technologies while fixing the core failures of the current process. Mr. Chairman, this amendment would modify Section 103 to require the official overseeing systems engineering to do two things. First, issue policy, procedures, or guidance concerning the appropriate use of development planning. And second, assess the capabilities of the military departments to do development planning. The amendment will create a single standard set of tools and systems engineering processes over multiple acquisition programs from the outset by establishing a common development planning organization. This system will validate plans, reducing the time for system development to deployment, reducing development risk and cost growth, and establishing clear metrics for process and major acquisition programs. We believe a single joint standard makes it easier to design and develop integrated capabilities in areas such as interoperability and non-centric operations, and ensures that these large, complex systems are based in objective reality and have a solid planning foundation. A 2008 National Research Council report strongly recommended that the military services reestablish their development planning capabilities. I agree. This amendment creates broad overarching guidance for the services and independent oversight for their efforts. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield to my colleagues to join me in supporting this bill, and I yield back.
Mr. Heinrich.
Mr. Chairman, I think Ms. Giffords outlined this very eloquently. I would just add that development planning has consistently shown an ability to reduce costs and the time between development and deployment, and I think it's a very, very good amendment.
Thank you. Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. McHugh and Ms. Giffords for the opportunity to be on this with you and help co-sponsor. I especially want to thank Mr. Andrews and Mr. Conaway as well. I don't know if it's known very well, but they had a 7 a.m. hearing on this panel, which I was on, and that's some intensity that you don't see around Congress very much these days. But you know, waste and cost overrun, if they're found early on, they're like a cancer. You can fix it, you can cure it, and we heard over and over again that these problems are found early on. So if we can find them early on, we can fix it. And just want to lend my voice in support of this amendment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. An amendment by Mr. Kaufman and Ms. Giffords. Mr. Kaufman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My amendment is co-sponsored by Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords of Arizona, and it further formalizes input from combatant commanders on joint military requirements for major defense acquisition programs. Under the current Joint Requirements Oversight Council JROC process, which determines and defines a DoD baseline need for the acquisition of a new system, the JROC is encouraged to solicit input from the combatant commanders to determine the warfighters' need for a proposed new acquisition system. H.R. 2101 formalizes this current informal understanding. The Kaufman-Giffords amendment will ensure that JROC fully takes the warfighter in the field into account. This amendment more clearly delineates that this formal input request of the combatant commanders be focused on the following 4 areas at a minimum. Number 1, any current or projected missions or threats in the theater of operations of the commander of a combatant command that would justify a new joint military requirement. Number 2, the necessity and sufficiency of a proposed joint military requirement in terms of current and projected missions or threats. Number 3, the relative priority of a proposed joint military requirement in comparison with other joint military requirements. And number 4, the ability of partner nations in the combatant commander's theater of operations to assist in meeting the joint requirements joint requirement or to partner in using technologies developed to meet the joint requirement. Our amendment also institutes a much needed level of focus and precision regarding the input sought from combatant commanders to best inform the JROC whether a new program is truly needed and what its fungible benefit will be in the current and future battlefield. Such precise input aims to prevent the DoD from going down the road of spending billions of dollars on unnecessary programs of no real value to the warfighter. Our amendment also provides for a review by the Government Accountability Office after 24 months as to whether the JROC is soliciting, receiving, and then taking into consideration meaningful input from the combatant commanders. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Giffords.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Kaufman, this amendment is going to strengthen the relationship of the combatant commanders and the information they're going to get back from the field. It's a good amendment, and I urge others to support it.
The last amendment would be the one by Mr. Sestak.